Hello my dear friends, welcome back to my channel. I am so glad y'all are here today. I am really looking forward to spending some time together. We are going to be hanging out in the studio today, creating some really fun and unique Valentine's crafty projects. So without further ado, let's get started with project number 1. Oh, hey y'all, so for this video, we are going to be using quite a few fun little supplies. We're going to need some of these hearts, and I did find these ones at Hobby Lobby. We're going to use some of these really cute little plywood rectangles. I also found these at Hobby Lobby. I have seen these at Dollar Tree as well. And then we may or may not use this. I haven't quite decided yet. If we do use it, it's going to get a little makeover. You'll need a grapevine wreath, some paint colors of your choice, and some floral stems of your choice. We are going to kick off this project by making a cute little envelope stack. So we will be using 5 of these little wooden boards that I found at Hobby Lobby in their wood pile section, and these did kind of remind me of little envelopes, so I thought they would be perfect for this project. Plus I wanted to show y'all a project that you could use with ready-made project boards. So the first thing we're going to do is start painting and staining all of these. So 3 of them I'm going to stain with some antiquing wax that I did water down just a little bit, just to give it a little thinner consistency. So I'll start by staining the entire front and the sides, and then I come in and wipe off all of the excess to give it that stained look. And I will repeat the same process on 3 of these, and I do the fronts, the backs, and all of the sides. So I'm going to go ahead and do these 2 off camera because I know y'all probably get sick of watching me paint, but I'm going to stain these last 2 the same color. So now we will move on to painting the other 2, and for these 2 I'm using some craft paint. I believe this is folk art in the color Crocodile, but I will have all the paint colors that I used today listed for y'all in the description box. So I'm going to repeat that same process by covering the entire surface, and then I come in with a clean towel and just kind of wipe away all of the excess. This is kind of like doing a distressing on it, like a dry distressing on it, but it gives it that stained look in the end. So I really like how these look, and so I'm going to repeat this to the front, the back, and both sides. We now have all 5 of our envelopes painted, so I'm going to go ahead and set these aside for a bit, let them dry. While they're drying, I'm going to go wash my dirty hands, clean my brushes, and then we will get started on our little wreath here. This wreath is going to set at the top of our envelope stack. And I'm just using some grapevine wreaths here that I found at Hobby Lobby, and I got these back in the floral section, and it came in a bundle of 4 for like $3, maybe $3.25, so they're very, very inexpensive. And I'm going to go ahead and just create like a swag across the very bottom portion of our wreath by just adding in some of these little stems and picks from some greenery that I also found at Hobby Lobby. Our swag is looking really nice and full, so I just want to come in and add a couple more little tiny sprigs of baby's breath. This is just some of that faux baby's breath that you can find in the floral section at Hobby Lobby. And then to finish off our wreath, I'm going to just add this cute little jute bow right to the center. I'm just going to quickly paint some of these cute little hearts. We're going to add these to our envelopes as just a little bit of embellishment. So I'm just quickly going to paint these with some barn red mixed with raw umber to just give it that deep antique red color. All right, so moving on from that, while our hearts are drying, we are going to draw out a pattern for our envelope so that we can get this envelope placed just right. So to start, I'm going to trace our little wood envelope on a piece of cardstock. And then I mark all because these corners are a little bit rounded. So I'm going to go ahead and mark the centers of that. Come in with my ruler, make an X right in the center by going from corner to corner, dot to dot, and it just gives me the center point of our envelope. Then I will place a dot in the very center, like X marks the spot, and then come up 1 inch from the top of that dot and 1 inch from the bottom of that dot and create 2 smaller dots. Then we will come from the top corners down to the lowest dot to create the flap on our envelope. And then for the bottom portion of our envelope, we come in from the dots on the bottom of the envelope to that top dot. You can kind of see what I'm doing here, and that gives us the proper proportions for our envelope. And then I will just go ahead and cut these out so that we have a pattern to create an envelope on top of our little wooden pieces of wood. So you can see here how I've cut the top portion of our envelope, which this is the flap, and it fits perfectly and the point is right center. Then I cut that bottom section out and voila, just like that, we've got a really perfect envelope pattern. So I will go ahead and trace this onto our little wooden envelopes. I did not create this pattern for y'all just in case you have a different size piece of wood that you're using for your envelope, but if you just follow that same rule, you should be able to create your own pattern very easily. All right, so for our little green envelopes, I'm just going to come in and draw some lines on this to make it look like the front addressed part of an envelope. Now that we have everything penciled onto our envelopes, I'm going to come in with a black Sharpie and trace over all of our patterns. You could use black paint to do this or a black paint marker, whatever works best for you. All right, and then I just want to give these a little bit of an aged look so that they kind of look like old letters. So I'm going to come in and sand all of these just a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and do some stamping and some embellishing on these. So I have this cute little stamp. I don't even remember where I got this. I've had this for so long, and I thought this would be perfect to stamp in the corner of our little green envelopes. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm also going to stamp in some little verbiage on the lines of our green envelopes as well. Okay, y'all, so I was feeling like the back parts of our envelopes were looking just a little flat. So I came in with a little bit darker antiquing glaze here and just created a little bit of highlights and some shadows there just to give it a little depth and some dimension to make it look more like an actual dimensional envelope. And I think it came out kind of cool. It was just easy to do that. All right, so now let's go ahead and glue on our little hearts, our little heart embellishments to these, and I'm doing a heart on each one of the brown envelopes. And then we will go ahead and start attaching these all together. And I'm just using some hot glue to do this. You know me and my best friend, hot glue. So I'm just gluing these in just kind of a random little pattern, just kind of stagger them until we get them kind of all glued together and stacked. To attach the wreath to our envelope stack, I am going to come in and just drill a couple of holes just like a 1/2 inch apart here on the very top envelope, and then I strung a zip tie through the wreath, and then I will run that zip tie through the holes on the envelope and then attach it, secure it to the back, and that should hold our wreath really well in place. I don't think this is going to go anywhere. All right, y'all, that is going to finish off our little envelope stack. How cute. I think this came out just darling. It's playful, it's fun, and it adds a little bit of whimsy to our Valentine's decor.
For this project, we are going to be using this pattern, which I will have available for y'all as a free download. Then you will need some fabrics of your choice. And if you want, you can use some of these cute little ribbons. I'm going to use some of these. I just think they'll be kind of cute. And of course, you'll need your sewing machine. If you don't have a sewing machine, you can use fabric glue to do this just the same.
To get this project started, we are first going to need to cut out our pattern. So I'm going to just go ahead and cut this out. And then when you place this on your fabric, you do want to make sure that you place the pattern on the fold. So we have two sizes here. We have the larger heart, which is going to be our actual pillow. And then that smaller heart is going to get attached to the front of our pillow to create a cute little pocket for us to add some fun embellishments to. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut several of these out because I want to make several of these to give as gifts. So I'm going to be using some different fabrics here, and I'm going to use, like on this one, I'm going to have a different backing for this one than the front. So for the front, I only need to cut one piece from the big heart. And again, you do want to make sure that you cut this on the fold. And here I am just cutting our pattern out from the fabric to create the top portion of my first little pillow here. So as I said, you only need to cut, if you're using different fabrics for the front and the back, you only need to cut one of these, but make sure you cut it on the fold so that when you open it up, you have a full heart. So now I'll go ahead and get the smaller pattern, the smaller heart traced on here, and cut that out. And this again is going to be for a cute little pocket. So I'm going to go ahead and get that cut out, and then we will move on to our next step. Alrighty, y'all, so we've got the front part of this heart cut out, and we've got our little pocket part cut out. And here I'm just kind of playing with the placement of where I want the pocket to be, and I think I settled on putting it right in the center. So now I need to go ahead and cut out the backing for this one, and I am using some very thick, like faux wool. I guess you would call it faux wool or faux fleece, but I found this at Joann Fabrics, and it is really, really thick. So it was a little fiddly to cut this out, but I'll go ahead and get this cut out, and then we can move on to sewing our pieces all together. Okay, y'all, so I did decide to go ahead and cut out all of my hearts before we move on to the sewing. And so here I'm just cutting out a front and a back piece for the next heart. And what I did with this was I folded them both in half, stacked them on top of each other, and it was a lot easier and a lot more efficient to get a whole bunch of these cut out. And again, I'm using a coordinating fabric for the front and the back on this one. And then we'll go ahead and cut out one more, and then we can move on to sewing our pieces together. On this particular little heart pillow, I am going to add some fun edging to that. So I'm going to be using this really neat bias tape that's got like a jute ribbon attached to it. So you've got the ribbon and then the little bias tape, and that's what's going to go around this as some cording. And I think that'll just add a little bit of an element of funness to this. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our pocket sewn on, and you want to sew this to the front piece of your heart pillow first. So I'm just going to pin it into place, and then we will take it to the sewing machine and get it sewn on. You do want to make sure that you leave an opening at the top of this though, so that you can have it as a pocket and stuff it with some fun embellishments at the end. So to remind myself to leave that top open, I pinned with some colored pins on the part where I want to start and stop. So I'm going to leave about a 2 to 2.5 inch opening at the top of this pocket. Then I'll just go ahead and take it to the sewing machine, and I'm sewing this pretty closely to the edges. So I think I used like an 1/8 inch seam allowance here. Now that we have our pocket sewn to the front of our pillow here, we can move on to attaching the cording. So I'm first going to cut a whole bunch of slits into this bias tape because we're sewing this to a very rounded shape, and by cutting these slits it just makes it more pliable and bends more easily around our shape as we're sewing. So I've gone ahead and cut all of the slits all the way around this entire thing, and then we can take it to the sewing machine and start sewing it on. And to sew this on, you want to place your cording to the right side of your top piece of the pillow with the bias tape pointing outwards and the cording facing inwards. You can kind of see how I've placed that here. And then you want to use a zipper foot to sew this on and sew as close to that cording as you possibly can. Okay, so now that we've got that sewn on, you can kind of see how it's taking shape and the way it's going to look once it's all sewn together. So now we're going to go ahead and get the back part of our pillow placed on here, and we're going to do this by sewing right sides together. And you want to make sure that your bias tape is laying perfectly flat because you want to sew the outer edge of this pillow piece with the bias tape. I really hope that made sense, because you'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute. When we go to flip this right side out, you'll see how the bias tape and the cording is on the outside, and it'll be perfectly shaped around the edge of our pillow. One thing I forgot to mention earlier when we were sewing is to make sure that you do leave an opening at the bottom of your pillow so that we can flip this right side out and then stuff the pillow as well. So you can kind of see here, now that we've got it turned right sides out and I'm getting it flattened out, you can see how that cording just perfectly shapes the outer edge of our little heart. I really like this embellishment. I just think it adds a lot to the pillow. And I did get a little goof up right there, but that's okay. It just adds a little extra charm. Okay, y'all, so now we can go ahead and get our pillow stuffed. Now that I have all the stuffing in the pillow, I'm going to go ahead and just take this back to my sewing machine and close up that opening. All right, y'all, we did it. We got our cute little pillow all sewn together, and I think this turned out pretty good. It's not too bad. I mean, it's a little misshapen, but you still get the idea. You still can see that it is indeed a heart. I really like this fabric too. This is a fun fabric, and I think I got this one at Joann Fabrics. Okay, so I've gone ahead and sewn all 3 of my pillows, and they're all just a little bit different. I'm really liking them all. I think this one right here is my absolute favorite so far. Let's add some finishing touches to our pillows. So I'm going to start by stuffing our first little pillow with this cute chocolate bear that I found at Dollar Tree. And y'all, I don't know what was up with this box, but it was really hard to get open. It was almost like child-proofed. But I did finally get it open, and I got the bear out of the box. So I'm going to go ahead and just add it into this cute little clear cellophane cookie bag. And I got these cookie bags at Walmart. And then I will just go ahead and tie the top of this off with a cute little jute ribbon. Now we can go ahead and stuff the pocket, and I'm going to just stick in a sprig of greenery here, a sprig of this cute little faux baby's breath, and then we will add our bear right to the front part of our pocket. And I'm going to tuck him in, but then just leave his cute little face peeking through so that you know he is there. Oh gosh, y'all, I just think this is so darling. I would love to get this as a gift. I might just have to give this one to myself. Okay, so we'll go ahead and finish this one off by just adding a cute little ribbon just to the front part of the pocket here. And I'm just going to use some hot glue to attach it. How cute. Oh, I just think this is so cute. This would make a fun gift to give to a really special friend or one of your children or your grandchildren. I just think this would, anybody would enjoy getting this, I think. So even our husbands might like it. Okay, so for this one, I just did the same thing. I added in some greenery and some little baby's breath, but instead of the chocolate bear, I just added in some of these little heart chocolates to this one, and that finishes up this project, y'all. This last project today that we're going to work on is my absolute favorite. I really love this one. It's fun, it's playful, it's very whimsical, and so easy to do. And so with that said, we are going to do a little bit of watercolor painting here. And if watercolor painting is not your thing, don't fret, because I'm going to have all of these available for y'all as a free download. So all you have to do is download them and then print them. And I do believe that you could print these on just a regular home printer, because I formatted all of these to be 8 1/4 by 8 1/4. So you should be able to print them at home, but if not, you could take them to your local print shop and have them printed. So we're just going to sit back and relax a little bit as I paint our first painting here. If you have never tried watercoloring, I highly recommend giving it a try. You do not have to be an artist to work with watercolors. It's kind of like coloring in the lines. I just sketched this off, just kind of did a rough sketch here, and then I'm basically just coloring in the lines. But you don't even have to make a painting with watercolor. You can just play with the watercolor paints and let them just flow across the paper and just create colors. It's just so peaceful. It's so relaxing. I don't know. For me, watercolor painting is very therapeutic. It's just kind of how I wind down and clear my head, and it's really a good way for me to de-stress. So I am really liking how this is coming together so far, and I know y'all don't know exactly what we're going to do with these yet, but stay with me, because this is going to end up being such a fun project, and it's going to be so cool in the end. Okay, are y'all ready for this? We are going to create some cute little rock people to set on our bench here. And I just think this is so fun and it's so whimsical. And these little rock people can represent you and your spouse, or you and your grandchildren, or your child, or just however. It can represent anything that speaks to your heart. So I've gone ahead and placed our little rocks on the bench, and then I wanted to add some little legs dangling over the front side of the bench. So I'm just drawing on basically some little stick legs. And my watercolor, I did not use very good watercolor when I did this, so it needed to be pressed a little bit before I actually start attaching all of the components and the embellishments to these. And so if you do watercolor and you've ever had this problem with your watercolor buckling, you can go ahead and just iron it and it flattens it right back out. Okay, so for this piece, y'all, I painted this one off camera, but I really wanted to do something other than rocks. And so I just had Michael cut these out for me. He just cut them out of some scrap wood, but they kind of still have the shape of a rock. So I just glued these ones on, and then we'll go ahead and draw in some cute little stick legs to these ones as well. I am just using a pencil here to sketch on our little legs. That way, if I end up not liking them, they can easily be erased. But once I get them sketched on and I'm liking them, I will come back in with a paint pen and go back over these in black. Okay, y'all, so to attach our little rock people to this painting, we are going to be using some 2-part epoxy glue to do this. This is the Gorilla brand, and I'd never used this glue before, so Michael came in and lent me a helping hand. Plus, I really just enjoy working on projects with him. So after you get all of these glued on, you do want to let it set for about 10 minutes to let that glue completely set up. Oh my gosh, I just think this is so cute, y'all. I really love this. Okay, so I've gone ahead and created a couple of different variations of this for y'all just to give you a couple of ideas. So of course we have our one with the little rock people, and I just think this came out so cute, y'all. I think these would make great gifts to give to your spouse, to give to your boyfriend, your girlfriend, a fiance, or you could create this as a sweet little wedding gift. I just think this makes a great wedding gift too. It doesn't necessarily have to be Valentine's specific. Okay, so I created the watercolor on this, and then I just took it and put it through my printer and just printed on the little people with a little saying, which I think is a fun idea too. And then for this one, I created the watercolor, and then I used some watercolor pencils to sketch on the little people. I just love how all of these turned out. I think this is a fun idea. Y'all will have to let me know your thoughts on this project.
Alrighty friends, we created some really cute projects today. I am so happy with how all of them turned out. It's really hard to pick a favorite, but I think my first favorite is our cute little picture frames. I just love creating things that are unique and different. And of course, I love to paint and watercolor. So those ones were especially fun for me, and they are probably my favorite. And then next, I really like our pillows, and we won't forget our cute little envelope stack. It turned out super cute as well. I hope y'all enjoyed these projects and that I have somehow inspired you and given you some fun ideas for your Valentine's gift giving. Alrighty friends, that is going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you all so much for being here with me today. It means the world to me that y'all take time out of your day, your busy days, to come and hang with me. Thank you again, my dear friends. I look forward to seeing you all again next week. Until then, take care, and I will see you soon. Bye! Y'all, don't forget that all of our patterns today, all of the patterns and the art from today's projects will be available for y'all on my website as a free download. So don't forget to hop on over there and pick up your fun patterns for today's projects.